Music is the center of so much of what we do, whether it is attending a concert of our favorite band, listening in our cars, singing in the shower, streaming on our devices, or sitting down and playing a musical instrument. Life would be unusually quiet and quite boring without the strains of rock, classical, blues, jazz, or pop playing out the soundtrack to our lives. Unfortunately, in the realm of music, being offered as a viable and much needed school subject during the impressionable elementary and middle school years, it is the first on the school district's chopping block when budgets are thin or money gets misappropriated. Good evening, my name is Mike Grady. I am the music teacher at Bradford Elementary. I am a parent and a member of the community, as well as a professional musician for 30 plus years. My job tonight is to amplify the community's rallying cry, and that is to stop the elimination of music programs in our elementary and middle schools. I'll be discussing 3 talking points tonight. Number 1, music education and the undeniable positive effect it has on cognitive learning. Number 2, the far-reaching and proven educational advantages when being taught other subjects. And finally, number 3, music class is more than just an extracurricular activity. Now, I know when they heard the strains of that song, it brought back a lot of memories for you. Many of you that I spoke to last year after the Recorder concert, you had said that this was the very first musical instrument you ever played. And because of a vibrant music program at the school you attended, you were not only exposed to music classes, you had the opportunity to play a musical instrument. And this is something I want to make sure your children and their children will have. Our first point, cognitive learning. The augmentation of the learning process. Music has a positive effect on children as well as adulthood. From the article, How the Adult Brain is Shaped by Musical Training in Childhood from the Journal of Neuroscience. Music training in childhood fundamentally alters the nervous system such that neural changes persist in adulthood after auditory training has ceased. Adults who receive formal music instruction as children have more robust brainstem responses to sound than peers who never participated in music lessons, and that the magnitude of the response correlates with how recently training ceased. These results suggest that neural changes accompanying musical training during childhood are retained in adulthood. That memory and that experience you never forgot. And I want to make sure that the children of this community have that same type of memory. But music's not the end all, but it's more of a vital tool in the learning process. From the Foundation for Music Literature publication, in the article, How Music Can Dramatically Affect Your Child's Development and Lifetime Success, they say spatial temporal is basically proportional reasoning, ratios, fractions, proportions, and thinking in space-time. This concept has long been considered a major obstacle in the teaching of elementary math and science. However, musicians seem to have a better ability to think and to see in spatial temporal, from how they listen into how they view things and to how they problem solve. And for me, I have a personal experience as far as problem solving. I have found that being a musician assists me in seeing and solving problems differently than some of my peers. And in fact, music assisted me in getting hired for a startup position at an education company. The founder, Dr. Tom Sue, said to me at the end of the interview, one of the reasons why we are hiring you is because you are a musician. And all the musicians I know have a great tendency to think outside the box. And that's exactly what we're looking for. So besides having advantages in augmentation of the cognitive learning and learning processes, I'd like to further go on and talk about problem solving about educational advantages. Pattern recognition. Musicians have a considerable greater edge in pattern recognition than students who don't take music. Patterns are all over the types of things we learn in school. In the National Institute of Life, on an article called The Biological Impact of Auditory Expertise Across the Lifespan musicians as a model of auditory learning. They say, music enhances memory and pattern recognition in children and adults. Investigations into human learning through the study of musicians profit from an almost infinite variety of auditory experts. Musicians' auditory learning approaches vary not only according to instrument, style, and level of expertise, but also according to their reliance on memory, improvisation, oral learning and mimicry, and engaging of the visual modality. This is greatly important as far as memory is concerned for your child, as far as learning, and as far as being able to engage in visual modalities. Another issue I covered on earlier was problem solving. There are three things that musicians have to tackle when they're playing a specific passage of music and they can't quite figure out how they're not playing it correctly. Number one, they have to be able to recognize the problem. Number two, they have to be able to find and isolate the problem. And number three, apply problem-solving techniques in eliminating the issue. So that means they play the passage and recognize that what they're playing is incorrect. Number two, they find where the incorrect section is, and that in turn has them isolate the problem. And number three, they apply problem-solving techniques in order to eliminate the issue within the musical passage. These are vital skills for any child that is going out into the world. Now, as we move on, I'm going to talk a little bit about how music is more than just extracurricular. From the website of the National Association of Music Merchants, an article called Striking a Chord, the Public's Hopes and Beliefs for K-12 Music Education in the United States. Teachers and parents agree to this one thing. The data couldn't be more clear, said Peter Grunwald, president of Grunwald Associates, LLC, a research firm. Teachers and parents told us repeatedly that music is an essential part of learning, not merely an extracurricular activity that can be cut when times are tough, similar to what we're running into right now. Mary Lou Shane, executive director of the NAMM Foundation, also said, teachers speak from firsthand experience on what matters in keeping kids engaged in school and learning. And nobody is more personally invested in a child's long-term success than parents. What we see here is that parents and teachers overwhelmingly agree on the importance of providing every child with access to music education in school. Now I'm going to go back to the beginning and quickly go over briefly what I spoke about. Point one, music education has an undeniable positive effect on cognitive learning. Number two, the far-reaching and proven educational advantages when being taught other subjects. Number three, music class is more than just an extracurricular activity. It is now your job to go out, make phone calls, email, get on social media, engage local and state reps, remind them of their duty and their importance of music education, research, and make sure to be prepared when contacting. You have the materials, and if you have any questions, please contact me. Thank you.